there, welcome to the latest episode of the Sexy Thyroid Solution. I'm your host, Angela Brown. So today I want to talk about thyroid hormone production, and I want to put it in more simple terms. If you could do me a huge favor first, if you could, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to my page. Hit the little bell button so you get a notification every Thursday when I release a video. And if you're watching this on Facebook or on Instagram, like this and share this. Tag someone who you think would benefit from this information. So let's go ahead and dive in here. So what is thyroid hormone production? So there's two thyroid hormones that are made. You have T4 and you have T3. T3 is going to be your active thyroid hormone. T4 is inactive. It's kind of a precursor to T3. About 80% of T4 is made initially in thyroid, and about 20% is going to be your T3. So if you remember me saying in other videos before that T3 is going to be so important. It's your active thyroid hormone. If you're only making 20% of it, what happens? How are you getting a larger percent of it so that you actually have good metabolism and your thyroid's actually working? You have to have a conversion. So your T4 will travel through throughout your bloodstream. It goes to target tissue via the bloodstream, and that's when that conversion has to happen. There's a lot of steps. There's a lot of things that have to happen in order for that conversion to happen. I go over this in other videos too, how important minerals and things like that are with conversion. So that's something that you can go back and look at. But one of the biggest things, in order to make those thyroid hormones, you have to have iodine. And I've talked about iodine a little bit before, but iodine is super, super important. You have to have it to make thyroid hormone because literally that's what makes it. T4 is 4 iodine molecules, T3 is 3 iodine molecules. So if you don't have iodine, you're not going to make thyroid hormone. And I've seen this before. I personally had this issue. I definitely was not producing enough T4 nor T3, and I had a really bad iodine deficiency. And I see this a lot when people come to me and we do mineral and metal testing and things like that. It's very common to see very, very low iodine, and they have this really slow thyroid. So definitely have to need to get your mineral and metals checked on a hair test, because that will also help kind of guide if you are a candidate for using iodine. You can do iodine testing. I don't always go right to it. I honestly think that you can get a pretty good read based off of your hair tissue testing, which is the mineral and metal testing. So what happens is your thyroid hormone production occurs inside the thyroid cells basically. And there's a whole bunch of steps that have to happen here in order for the production of those thyroid hormones. Iodine uptake is the biggest one, okay? So what happens is the iodine gets transported. It goes from your bloodstream, because iodine's floating around in your blood. It goes via the bloodstream into your thyroid cells. And then this is where the iodine will get oxidized. You don't need to know what all that means. Basically, the gist of it is that's where T4 and T3 are made. So it'll either make 4 molecules or it'll make 3 molecules. So you'll have T3 for the 3, you'll have T4 for the 4. That's basically the gist of it. Let me ask you too, have you ever had T3 and T4 checked? Most of the time doctors just check one or the other, usually not doing both, or they're just checking TSH. So give me a shot too. Let me know, have you ever had both T3 and T4 checked on a blood panel? What happens next is the T3 and T4 are secreted into your bloodstream basically, and that's where it travels and it goes to the target tissue to perform its functions. You do need to have both T3, T4, but T3 is going to be the more active one. It's the one that does the job. It's the one that creates your metabolism. So it's going to increase your metabolic rate. It's going to increase your heat production. It's going to increase heart rate, respiration rate. How you break down your carbohydrates, protein, and fat. It'll increase the process of digesting that stuff. It can increase skin, hair, nail growth, all that stuff. It's basically your metabolic rate. That's what it's going to do. So if you make a good amount of T4, not enough T3, you're going to have issues with your thyroid. Or you might just not even make enough T4. If you don't make enough T4, you don't have enough to convert over to T3. So that's a problem too. And that's why like thyroid medication is just T4. Most basic generic thyroid medications, what most doctors will put you on right off the bat is a T4 only medication. What if your T4 is fine? Or what if it's just kind of suboptimal? But what if you can't convert over? You can't convert any of that over to T3. A T4 only medication does absolutely nothing. And I see it all the time. I have so many women come to me and they're like, I'm miserable. I've been on the same medication for 20 years. and I look and they've literally been on Synthroid or Levoxyl, something like that, and it's straight old T4. I'm like, well, what about T3? Never taken it before. And then I do a full blood panel on them, and we see that their T3 is completely bottomed out. Their T4 actually looks decent because they're taking so much damn medication, T4, but they don't convert any of it over. Well, that's your active. So if you're just addressing T4, you're never going to be able to lose weight and feel good and not have your hair falling out in clumps and have energy. You're not going to have that if you're constantly only taking T4. So that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to go over this today, of the T4, T3 production, how it happens, and why it's so important to have certain things like iodine to make that. What else is helps with conversion? There's a lot of things that help with conversion too, and one of the things, selenium is really important, very important. And I see all the time, so many people, when they have iodine deficiency, their thyroid's slow, they have iodine deficiency and can't produce good thyroid hormone, they also have selenium deficiency. It usually goes hand in hand. So I definitely do recommend to do the hair test, because we can see what your selenium is doing on there. And when I see selenium low, I typically am going to see iodine low as well, and vice versa. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. Something else is what your potassium doing. Potassium levels are so important for helping with conversion of T4 to T3. You really need a good amount of potassium. So getting your minerals and metals checked will be very important, so that you can see what is helping or hindering the conversion of T4 to T3. That's going to be super important. So that's why I do the hair tissue testing, because even metals, sometimes you can have certain metals that will kind of negate or knock away that the conversion. It can cause a lowering of potassium. It can cause lowering of selenium. It'll kind of negate those minerals from doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then you don't get a conversion. So hope this helps you. I know it was a lot of information, but I kind of wanted to keep it on simple terms. There's so much physiology, and it's very confusing trying to figure that out, which you don't necessarily need to. But my main point of this video was to see how important it is to know your T4 and T3 levels, and to know if you're having an issue with conversion. So if you need any help, reach out to me. I do have my free guide going still. If you need help with that as well, let me know. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel again, and hit the bell so that you get a notification. And if you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram, do me a big favor and share this. This would be great information to share. I just want to get the information out there to keep things simple for people, especially when they're very confused and really don't know what to do next. So let me know if you have any questions again, and we'll chat soon on the next video. Bye.